Poverty in America has been and still is a growing issue. Things that we use in our everyday lives as necessities would be considered luxuries to those in poverty.
Right now in America, more than 46 million people are living in poverty. That's the largest number in more than 50 years, more than the combined populations of all these states. Who lives in poverty, USA? Nearly 1 out of 6 Americans. Wage earners who've lost their jobs, seniors who can't afford their medicine, people in the military, families living on minimum wage, and worse yet, nearly 1 in 5 children. What's it like living at the poverty line? How do you make ends meet? According to the U.S. government, a family of 4 is living in poverty USA if they're making less than $22,113 a year. That's $1,842 a month. Just how far will that take you? Not very far. Take housing. At the poverty line, you'll pay about $530 a month for basic shelter. How about keeping the lights on and the kids warm? Utilities, $250 a month. You'll need to get to work, to childcare, to the store. But public transportation isn't always available. A used car, gas, and maintenance runs about $343 a month. What about food? You'll average about $334 a month. Or you'll go without. That's why hunger can be a problem when you're living at the poverty line. But maybe you can qualify for assistance, like food stamps or subsidized school lunches. And while you're at work, your younger children will need childcare. Even with subsidies, you'll spend $210 a month per child. Now, healthcare. Even with government assistance programs, it will cost you, on average, $221 a month for insurance, out-of-pocket expenses, copays, and prescriptions. Of course, a surprise illness can be devastating. Many low-wage jobs don't provide sick leave. If you miss work or stay at home with the kids, you'll lose those days' wages, or worse, your job. Now it's the end of the month, and you've run out of money. But the expenses keep coming. Clothing and shoes for your growing children, school supplies, never mind saving for college. What will you let go? Can you hang on until the next payday? Or will you fall deeper into poverty? There are ways out of poverty USA. Not with a hand out, but with a hand up. Join the Catholic Campaign for Human Development in helping groups led by low-income people lift themselves and their families out of poverty with community programs that help and by changing policies that affect people's lives, breaking the cycle of poverty for good. You can help starting today. Go to povertyusa.org. A message from the Catholic Campaign for Human Development. CCHD is the anti-poverty program of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, protecting human life and dignity, promoting the common good.
Although poverty is a big issue, we can at least contribute to helping solve the problem by protesting, volunteering at soup kitchens, and giving to homeless shelters. These small acts of kindness will be sure to bring smiles to the people's face and lighten their day.
The line is the firing line, in which people face survival or death.
Right now, they're so far below that line, it's pitiful.
The line. the place that people on the bottom are trying to get to, and the place that people on the top are trying to keep from going below.
You can't be too prideful, too stubborn to not step across that line to say, I can't do it on my own, I need help. Your ego is not important. What's more important is to put food on the table.
I understand that people might look at me and say, well, you're getting a handout, and I've done everything that I can do to make myself better.
It's like my dreams out of reach, this pain and all this grief. If you see God and you happen to speak, tell him it's crazy in these streets. Feel my pain, it gets so deep, that make it hard to sleep. If you see God and you happen to speak, tell him it's crazy in these streets. Tell him it's crazy.
There's a certain amount of pride that comes in being independent. And there's a certain amount of shame that comes into having to beg for every little thing that you get.
It's crazy in these streets, and it's hard right now to start judging. But when you get enough,
when you have to struggle paycheck to paycheck, it's a hard thing.
There's no way that I can continue to do this and survive with it. Just can't do it.
I mean, I've had my gas shut off, I've had my electric shut off. It's horrifying, and it's embarrassing when your kids go to turn on something and it doesn't work.
I've seen a change not only with income, but I can see a change in the people.
You try to fight yourself out of it, but you can't. You can't. My income right now, between about $11,000 to $15,000.
The bottom fell out. And that bottom was that line. They went below that line.
Poverty is just every day for me.
As we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, a growing number of middle-class Americans are falling into poverty. It's hard to imagine everything that you've worked for slowly slipping away unless you've lived it. Byron Pitts introduces us to a family that is living it.
If you hit rock bottom, where would you go? Who would you write?
Dear Mr. Robinson.
Diane Struble of Greensboro, North Carolina, wrote to her local newspaper.
I'm not the homeless man down on the corner begging for change. I'm anybody living anywhere, USA.
2 years ago, Diane and Todd Struble were living the dream. College educated, careers, middle class, a combined annual income of $85,000.
A lot of that was donated.
But in November 2009, Todd lost his job and hasn't had a steady paycheck since.
At this point, have you guys calculated how broke are you? Savings account. How much money in a savings account?
Zero. $25 because that's the minimum to keep the account.
Checking account.
It's probably about 100 right now.
401k.
Oh wow.
Hers is gone, and I had to take out what I could out of my pension.
Chicken and dumplings, which is one of their favorites.
Diane is now the primary breadwinner, earning $22,000 a year. They've gone from middle class to below the poverty line.
So what's in this picture?
A local school teacher, she's getting a daily education in humility. She talked about it in that letter she emailed to the local newspaper.
I'm grateful for the leftover cereal that I sneak out of work in an oversized purse. And I'm grateful for my superiors who see but pretend they don't see.
Not easy writing that kind of letter.
No.
Why'd you hit send?
When you've been in this situation for a long time, you feel beaten down.
She's not alone. In Guilford County, where the Strubles stay, 21% of families their size live below the poverty line.
If you had to put the money that you have access to on the table right now, how much money would you have?
Less than what some people pay for a dinner out.
When's the last time you cried?
Last night.
The Strubles have 8 children. 4 still live at home. Space is tight. reminders of their old life stored outside.
We try to disguise the fact that it's a closet.
Their walk-in closet is now 6-year-old Sadie's bedroom. But it takes more than stuffed animals and pink sheets to fool teenagers. They know the hard truth. Ben is 14.
I remember one time we had it was about soup for 2 weeks, or was it longer?
I don't know.
But it was just 2 weeks, I'm going to say, about every day just having soup. So that was kind of rough.
And today, are you the face of poverty, you think?
We are the growing edge of poverty.
The growing edge of poverty?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I think there is becoming a greater and greater divide between the haves and have-nots. Bless and keep each of us. Help us to remember you are with us always.
Tonight in many homes across America, that divide is growing. Byron Pitts, CBS News, Greensboro, North Carolina.
Tonight we begin an ongoing series of reports which will air occasionally over the next year on a single topic. We'll be covering poverty in America, an effort supported by the Ford Foundation. Tonight we begin with the poorest city in the nation and the most dangerous city all in the same place. It's Camden, New Jersey, right across from Philly. Camden is a city of 77,000, a place most people avoid or take pains to drive by, a place I first covered 25 years ago. And as we found upon our return there, the story of Camden cannot be avoided anymore. The skyline of Philadelphia is almost painful to look at from here because it's so close, such a glittering symbol of wealth and prosperity compared to here. They say Camden is the city that hope forgot. They didn't always say that. Walt Whitman was from here, and his words are on City Hall. In a dream, I saw a city invincible. Sadly, most people see something else.
I always think of Camden as the best visual aid in America to see what has gone wrong and what is going wrong.
Well, it's staggering poverty surrounded by staggering wealth.
Correct.
Father Michael Doyle has served this community for more than 40 years. As a newly arrived Irishman, he was there the night Bobby Kennedy came to town, and in a building that has since burned down, he campaigned against poverty.
I don't think that's acceptable in this country, and I don't think it should be tolerated.
Many people blame the poor. We have to get over that and realize that American citizens are dying in inner city America, and they're dying in Camden at levels never seen.
Last year, there was a shooting here on average every 33 hours. Per capita, it's the highest crime rate in the country, the highest murder rate in the country, in the poorest city in the country.
Last summer, we had 3 people shot 2 blocks that way. We had a person shot 1 block that way. Just last week, at this time of the day, we had a person shot right in front of this store.
We spent the day riding along with Camden's chief of police, Scott Thompson, whose own roots are here in this city.
This, 50 years ago, was the shopping center mecca of South Jersey.
Look at this.
Chief Thompson's grandmother worked at RCA when manufacturing was king in Camden. Campbell's Soup started here. The booming shipyard built the great vessels Kitty Hawk and Indianapolis for the war effort overseas. If I landed from Mars, how do you describe Camden to people?
I guess the one word is challenge. You know, it's extreme poverty, it's extreme crime.
Thompson and his police force have to improvise. The department was cut in half 2 years ago. The criminals and drug dealers know that, and they operate brazenly and in the open.
I got somebody I want you to meet.
And it was that summer nearly 2 years ago when the chief met 9-year-old George Cartagena in the hospital. He is the lifeless boy shown on surveillance video after getting caught in the crossfire in broad daylight on his way to the store, and the bullet to the head left him blind.
When I open my mouth, it goes in.
No kidding. Look at that. Did you hear gunshots first or see it?
When he started shooting, I looked at the other guy that was running, and then the other guy said, duck down and go to the corner.
What's the last thing you remember?
That my eyes were burning.
How do you not lose hope?
What keeps me going is the connection that I have with the people that live here.
In fact, Chief Thompson has remained a presence in the boy's life. After the shooting, he was named George's godfather. A local charity called Heart of Camden, a part of Father Doyle's church, helped George's family move into a nice row house on a safer block.
What's the difference between here and where you used to live?
In my old house, I was scared to come out, and then out here, I'm not.
George is an optimistic 10-year-old who hopes that someday science will give him at least partial eyesight.
My doctor said they will be able to put like a microchip inside your head, and then you'll be able to see like black and white and all that.
For the chief, who on any given day has an absentee rate among his stressed-out officers of 30%, relief is about a month away. The city department will become part of a new county force that will add roughly 200 officers to the ranks.
It may take us longer to get there, but at no point in time can we ever quit. You know, failure is not an option.
This is just one part of our reporting on Camden. We have another airing as part of an all-new Rock Center tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time.
Now you've seen the way people in poverty live and how they feel because they're in poverty. Hopefully, now you understand that the things we use in everyday lives are truly luxuries and should not be taken for granted.